What's up, guys? Got another new video here for you. This is Tuned In Sports, back with another video, and back with our first video in a little while, actually. A handful of us were on vacation, and some of us just needed a mental break from the weekly BS of the NFL. So, with that being said, though, we're back with today's video, and this is the week, what is it, 5 now? Yep. NFL review that we're going to be hopping into here. And we're going to be hopping into the week 5 NFL review. Definitely an interesting week for the teams on this channel, and we cannot wait to get into it. So, with that being said, guys, I'm Bryson.
I'm Bennett.
I'm pissed.
I'm off. And we are Tuned In Sports. So, let's go ahead and hop into these glorious games. Does anybody want to volunteer to get their clip off first? Anybody just been itching and scratching to get chatting about their game? Bennett?
Well, no, not really. I mean, I was thinking like we could have the team that actually won this week start. But.
Okay, fine, yeah, whatever. I'll go first. With the Eagles, as far as this week's game goes, I'd say it was pretty much a typical Eagles performance. Came out, couldn't score more than 6 points for 3 quarters, and then all of a sudden in the last quarter, they got a touchdown. Managed to get themselves back in the game, and then they had a blocked punt for the Panthers and they were able to recover it, and so they started with the possession in the Panthers zone and managed to capitalize on that as well to score a touchdown and take the lead, and after that they won. So, as far as the Eagles go, though, good win for them on the road in Carolina today. I think it was a win against a solid opponent. I think the jury's kind of out on how good Carolina is this year still. The fact that they lost at home to a Eagles team that's had its ups and downs, to put it nicely, is not exactly a good showing for them, and I'm not really sure how much stock to put in it from an Eagles standpoint. However, I watched Devontae Smith and what he had to say, Jordan Mailata, Darius Slay, and the head coach, and they all basically kind of were of the same opinion that this really was a team victory today. Because it took all 3 phases. Like I said, the special teams had that really big block that allowed the Eagles to pretty much stay in the game, and to basically win the game and score their final drive, winning touchdown. And then the offense, they struggled for 3 quarters mightily. They weren't doing much of anything. But then they had a big play by Quez Watkins. Nice pass to him for like 60-something yards or something like that. And from that time on, they kind of woke up. And then, as far as defense goes, defense absolutely murdered it today. 3 interceptions on Sam Darnold, 2 of them by Slay, 1 of them by the other corner. What's his name? Steven Nelson. So 2 by number 2 and 1 by number 3 for 3 picks for both the corners today. Excellent job defensively. This was a typical Broncos, whatever you want to call it. I mean, in some respects, the Eagles do it so much that it's kind of the same thing. But, this was a typical one of those games that we always talk about where the defense played their asses off, and then the offense finally woke up and did something. And, they were able to win. But, I was watching the post-game press conference, or the post-game conference, not just with the players, but also just with, some analysts and some experts and stuff. And I don't remember who exactly was talking, but it was one of the guys that was obviously an ex-player, and I think he was an ex-Eagle. And, he was kind of saying, like, that's wonderful and, celebrate your win. But really, did this win tell us that the Eagles have got it turned around and headed in the right direction? Really, no. All the things that we've struggled with this season were apparent here today. The penalties, there was only 6 compared to double digits like most weeks, but we had yet another touchdown taken off the board because of a penalty, which by the way, we lead the NFL in touchdowns taken off the board because of penalties. Last week we had 3. The first week we had 2. The Cowboys game we had 2. Every week we're having touchdowns taken off because of penalties. And we had another one today. So, and like I said, not as many penalties, but still the same problems. As well as, 6 points through 3 quarters. That's wonderful. We were able to win today, but that's not going to win games. The Panthers are... Obviously, the defense played well, so I'm giving them props. But I'm just saying, against, the Bucks on Thursday night here that we got coming up, that's not going to win the game. There is no way in hell we're going to be blasted so far out of the water. If we have 6 points going into the fourth quarter, it's going to be like 38-6, and we're not coming back from that. So, like I said, I'm happy with the win. Great to get a win on the road and to end the losing streak that we were on. But at the end of the day, does it really mean that much for the Eagles? Not really. We saw a lot of the same stuff that we've been seeing. It's just we were against a lesser opponent. And as far as that goes, too, is that we really need to work on things like maybe actually attempting a run. We had 5 rushes and 26 passes in the first half, which is like, why? Most weeks when we have a skewed number, it's because we're behind by so much. But this week, we were in the game the whole time. So it's not just, you guys get down and then, you have to throw. That's not what's going on. The coach is literally not doing it. And like the guys on the postgame show brought up, he'll defend it by saying, that's because we run a lot of run-pass options, and he's just choosing to throw it or pull it on the times when it's supposed to be a run. But so what? That's not really a run pass. That's not really committing to the run. That's committing to, whatever happens here happens. So I want to see some more designed runs. We've got some good backs here. Jordan Howard is no slouch. Miles Sanders has been good. And Gainwell, our rookie, has been great by all intents and purposes in terms of rookies. He's doing far and above what I expected. So we've got running backs here that can do it, but we're not using them. So, that's kind of disappointing. But like I said, great win today. To get a win in Carolina, that's great. And for the defense to show up, especially after the field day they gave up last week to Patrick Mahomes and to the Cowboys the week before, nice to see the defense show they have a pulse and show up for this game. But like I said, we're still seeing the same crap on offense. Basically seeming like they're coming out with the same game plan every week. And obviously, so far, it's just not really working. I think teams have figured out what we want to do, and they're putting a stop to it. And so something needs to change because, like I said, great we were able to win today, but when we start playing the Bucks and other teams like that, we're not going to be able to just come back like this. And we're not just going to be down by 12 points. We're going to be down by a lot more against some of these better teams. So this is not a recipe for success, even though we won the game. And I'm happy with the win, but at the end of the day, we got a lot of work to do. And, hopefully going into this short week, hopefully this win gave us a little bit of confidence. Maybe we can come out against Tampa Bay and at least compete. Not going to say that we're going to win that game. I see pretty much
you might be able to maybe at least get 7 points on the board before fourth quarter.
Exactly. I'd like to see at least a touchdown instead of a couple field goals. And lastly, though, I will say is that, they were bringing up a bunch of stuff in the commentary and stuff, and even in the post-game show about, this is exactly what our defensive coordinator Gannon wants to see is, these guys are going for yards and yards and yards, but we're holding them to field goals. And it's like, again, I said this last time that we were on here. I'm like, this is what the game plan is here, to let them walk down the field and then try to hold them to a field goal. But in past games against the Chiefs and against the Cowboys, we weren't holding them to field goals. So if you're letting them walk down the field for 5-6 yards a pop, and then you get down there and you give up a touchdown in the red zone, what kind of a game plan is that? Against some of the lesser teams, well, sure, that might work. But when we start playing the Rams, the Bucks, these teams of the world, we're just going to get creamed. And so far, we have. Apart from Jalen Hurts and the offense actually, putting up 31 points in a loss last week. But nonetheless, against some of the better teams, that system is just not going to work. I don't know why people are so excited about it and why the announce team and everybody seems to be like, oh, yeah, this is it. We're seeing it in its true fruition this week. It's like, well, I'm seeing it, and it's making me sick to my stomach because I'm just watching it thinking, if this is seriously our game plan moving forward, our defense is going to be one of the worst in the league. And statistically wise, we're probably going to be guaranteed in the back half, if not farther back. How can you not be, right? Giving up 6-7 yards a rush and walking them down the field, but then holding them to a field goal, well, they're still getting yards, so, whatever. But like I said, we won the game. Happy about that, and hopefully it gives us some momentum so that we can at least, get to 17 against Tampa Bay. So, yeah.
Yeah, as far as my thoughts on the game, I don't know, what's going on with the Panthers, but, I think this is their second straight loss, so it's been a tough couple games for them, and I think they're kind of falling back to earth a little bit from how they started. But, a good win for the Eagles. Overall, I wouldn't really say they played great. Struggled to score throughout the first 3 quarters. Their defense kept them in the game, which is always a good sign. But
offensive juggernaut. What are you talking about?
Yeah. But then again, the Panthers.
You wish you could get to 6.
I think the Panthers statistically are the number 1 defense so far this year. And I don't know if Gilmore played, but if he did, if he didn't, then him showing up there is only going to help matters for them. So, I'm interested to see what happens when he starts playing. But, yeah, tough loss for the Panthers and good win for the Eagles.
Yeah, I was going to say, Bryson, if this was an actual Bronco game, we would have lost 18-13. This just shows you, how much McCaffrey in the last 2 weeks counts for this team. Yeah. He's pretty much the whole team for the Panthers on offense. Without him there, it all falls on Darnold, and then he's just falling back to his old ways of throwing interceptions. He had a nice Drew Lock game today with 3 picks.
Yep.
And then some other things. So, I don't know. It's just kind of right time. Good. Congratulations to the Eagles hanging in there. Pulled one out. Snuck it back through the back door.
Yeah. Literally.
And, took the W home on it. So, good job, Eagles.
Yeah. Ditto. No, honestly, I did see a little bit of this. I was able to catch a little bit of the game. And, the defense does look like they're playing some ball right now, which is a good sign. You gotta be able to, keep people out of the end zone, which they did a pretty good job of today. And that's, credit to the defensive backs for getting some picks and everything. Offensively, still struggling, in my opinion. The systems aren't working as they were drawn up to work. So they're going to definitely have to figure something out on the offense to be able to get that ball in the end zone a little more often. Like you said, you can't win games scoring 6 points through 3 quarters.
No.
So, I mean, you were fortunate to be in the game, honestly, at that point.
Yeah.
So, like you said, if you're playing like somebody like the Cowboys or the Rams or somebody that's decent, you're going to have your hands full.
As we have this year. So
yeah. But, I mean, it was a very good win for the Eagles. I mean, it's nice to see them win. They actually, I mean, even through the losses and stuff, I mean, I like the way the team, like, plays. Like, they don't, it's not like they're giving up. They're playing for 4 quarters. And that's good to see. Because sometimes when shit ain't going right, people just get off the train and say, screw this. Well, you know, this season's over. I'm not getting hurt. And I could care less if the guy makes another catch, you know?
yeah.
So, I mean, that's kind of the way that I see it, you know? I mean, and I've watched it over the years in my team. So, I mean, it's nice when you see spirited efforts being put forth, even in losing efforts sometimes. So,
yeah, no, definitely. I mean, that was one of the takeaways that they did have was, you know, the team plays with a lot of heart, and it's evident in when they can actually get things rolling, and, you know, they play pretty well. And, you know, lastly with the Eagles, too, I did want to mention is, like, man, the defensive line is super, super strong for the Eagles. And today they were actually able to show that off because the secondary showed up. But, you know, there was a sack for Josh Sweat, sack for Fletcher Cox. He got his first one. Jordan Hargrave is turning into an outstanding, phenomenal defensive lineman. I mean, he's just all over the place every single week. And it's just nice to see. And against the Bucs, we're going to need those guys. We are really going to need – and Derek Barnett, too. I mean, I'm a big fan of his. He makes some boneheaded plays, though, as far as he's constantly one of the main reasons we get penalties on this team. A lot of them are number 96 Barnett, just doing boneheaded things. And not just holding. I'm talking like, you know, talking smack after the play and getting a PI and stuff like that. That's Mr. Barnett. But when he's not doing that stuff, he's a solid player too. So, like I said, defensive line has really impressed me, and we're going to need everybody and their mamas in order to do something with TB12 on the other end there. We're going to need to disrupt the pass, knock him on the ground a handful of times, and, you know, layer the boot for him. So, yeah. But anyway, enough about the Eagles. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of the show here, talking about losing, which is what we're all the most familiar with. So, let's roll into the Bengals now, since we were getting on there. And, you know, from what I saw with the Bengals is that similarly to the Eagles, they had honestly, you know, we say it for all the teams, honestly. We all started off very slow offensively. They kind of got it going a little bit, managed to tie up the game. And, you know, from that point, it was just Dick Kick City. And it just, I mean, people couldn't make field goals. Seemed like neither team wanted to win the game. And, you know, if I'm a Bengals fan, you know, you can't be pissed off at the the Packers, because they gave you every opportunity and a half to win the game, and you just weren't able to do it. So at the end of the day, it's unfortunate. They'll probably learn a lot from this game moving forward, but definitely a tough pill to swallow. Like I said, the Packers didn't do anything to outright win this game. They just happened to miss one less kick than the Bengals. Actually, no, they actually did miss one more kick than the Bengals, but just at a better time. So, you know, it's unfortunate for the Bengals, but good job to show up, play with heart, and not give up, even though they were down by a couple touchdowns at a couple points in the game. They kept fighting and came back, but you know, like I said, it just they had ample opportunities to put the seal on this game. and through missed field goals and stuff like that, just weren't able to capitalize. And I think that's going to be something that is very important for them to work on moving forward, because, like I said, well, on the flip side of that, we're looking at the Packers and you say, oh, they did everything that they could to lose this game, had some picks and some turnovers and stuff like that. And even though they had a bad game, still walked out with a win. And that's the difference between the good teams and the cogs of the league and the teams that are trying to get to that level. Is you have a bad game in Green Bay, still walk out with a W on the road. Have a bad game in Philadelphia, you're probably disgusted by the ending score. So, but definitely an exciting game. Not exactly for the greatest of reasons, but it was an exciting game to watch. Unfortunate the Bengals couldn't win.
Yeah, it was a tough game for the Bengals, but their uniforms look really good today.
There you go.
No, pretty much sums it up is just how, I don't know, especially I said it the week with the Jaguars that, hey, this is a game you must win, and they didn't perform very well, and they just eked it out. This was the opposite. Another one, like, well, can they win it? And if they do, but they still didn't win it. You know what I mean? It was just that, it's that thing of a growing team. And so as soon as they can get those picks, they'll be able to be competitive in these games more consistently.
Yeah.
Hopefully before that time, before Burrow gets killed, either taking shots to the head or getting his throat ripped out. I mean, it also needs part in him, right? To just eat the play, just take it, slide down, save yourself, you're going to get killed. And then that ruins the whole team's perspective, because as soon as he goes out, it's really, Driscoll comes in, and I know that saves the team, and they go on an 8-win winning streak. But again, like I said, like I said, it's a typical good team thing. Like, everything falls their way, miss field goals even, and then they pull out the win.
Yep.
But again, like I said, this is a growing thing for this team. So, way to hang around and almost pull it out. So it was a good game bone, but still put the L in the column.
Yep.
That's what sucks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Know all about it. It's growing pains. That's the whole theme. You got a young team, young players. Each week, team seems to be getting a little bit better, but still finding ways to lose games. Now, up to this point, I mean, they've been more wins than losses, which has been wonderful for the Bengals, and they are moving in the right direction, I believe. But it's just the little things that you like, the stops when you need to stop, they're not able to get them. And it's just week after week, it's going to be the same type of story, and it's going to come down to how many touch counts can we score. I think the offense for the Bengals looks pretty damn good in my opinion. I love Mixon. I think he's doing well. Jamar Chase, totally different player than he was in preseason, that's for sure. And now the guy's not missing a catch, and he's causing havoc. So, if they can get a couple of the other guys involved a little bit more, it seems like T. Higgins isn't having quite the impact that he's had in the past. So they just need to maybe find ways to get him the ball a little bit more as well. But I think overall the Bengals are going in the right direction. It's unfortunate they lost today. The crowd was pretty much, full for the game. It was nice to see participation, and they definitely had some backing there. So it was good to see that, and hopefully that'll continue to happen for them moving forward.
Yeah.
So.
Well, let's get into my section of the game. I actually thought overall, the first half we were pretty mediocre. Really didn't have a lot of offensive production. The defense really, to me, was what kept us in this game for most of it until the offense. It was one of those things where the defense played their ass off and then the offense started coming, producing in the second half. But generally throughout this year, we've been a second half team, so I wasn't necessarily surprised. The way we made a huge play to end the first half with Jamar Chase catching that touchdown to put us down by one possession. I thought that was really quite possibly the biggest play of the game, besides the touchdown that we had to tie it up. And then, getting the 2-point conversion to tie it. But, unfortunate that we lost. But, another shout out to Jamar Chase. The guy's just been tearing it up since he's gotten in the league. 6 receptions, 159 yards with a TD today. He has almost 500 yards, and we're only 5 games into the season. So, I don't know how that you can say that the Bengals were wrong for picking him now. I don't know how you can say that with the way he's played. So, good by him. Unfortunate that we weren't able to pull it out. We literally could have won it in the fourth quarter today.
Yeah.
It's not a situation where we weren't able to move the ball towards the end of the game. We were in field goal range and we missed it, which would have put us up by 3 with only like 30 seconds left.
Yeah, which we saw how that works with Detroit.
And it was unfortunate how things fell, and then overtime came around and again moved the ball down the field and couldn't score. I don't know. It was definitely one of the most mood swingy games I've ever watched. Because, we would, they would miss a field goal. We went down, got in field goal range, missed it. You just go from feeling like you got a good shot to win to thinking you're going to lose. Yeah. And it happened multiple times. So, yeah, it was quite possibly the most crazy game I've watched since I've been watching football, honestly. So, yeah, but I love the team's effort today, and I look for them to right the ship next week, hopefully.
Against the Lions.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, speaking of the Lions, let's go ahead and hop into their show next. While we're talking about clowns, we just finished watching the Bengals fiasco. Obviously, the Bengals fiasco was actually the one that lasted the longest, but we just in case we were didn't have a sour taste in our mouth watching that Bengals thing. We also right before that Bengals kicker went out there and missed, we got to watch the ever so exciting Lions defense out there. Yet another thing. At one point in the game, at one point in the morning, the Eagles, the Lions, and the Broncos were all in the third quarter and had a combined 18 points. We each had 6 halfway through the third quarter. So that just kind of shows you we pretty much all had a similar game today. As far as the Lions go, yet again, another slow start. Seemed like the offense kind of struggled for a while. The defense did what they could to keep them in. And then the Lions kind of started to pick it up a little bit. They got bailed out a little bit by a turnover by the Vikings offense. I believe it was the running back fumbled. It was the running back. He fumbled it in the Minnesota zone, and so the Lions were able to take advantage of that. Went down, scored, and then instead of kicking the field goal to tie, they decided to go for 2 with only 30 seconds or so left. Went for it, got it. So, all the fans and everybody was hyped and pumped and jumping up and down, and you could feel the electricity in the air just for, the needle to be poked in the side of the balloon and crash into the ground. They started that prevent defense crap, even though their defense had done pretty solid all day. And 2 40-yard passes later, the Vikings are in field goal range. And like Don so eloquently brought up earlier, amidst the 25 freaking missed field goals today. That one for Minnesota rang straight and true. They missed so many damn extra points and field goals and this, that, and the other thing. But boy, that Minnesota one had to go in. So, unfortunate for the Lions, especially because this is just so, 100% just, gives you flashbacks to that Ravens game. It literally basically went down in the exact same fashion. Just a different defense or a different offense that did it to them, and a different punter from a different distance. But apart from that, it was literally basically the same game. And another situation where the Lions should have had this game, could have had this game, and just couldn't do it. Like I said with the Bengals and the Packers, I wouldn't necessarily put the Vikings on the same level as being like an elite team or anything, but it just seems like, the teams that are good, even when they don't have a good game, find ways to win, and the teams that are bad find ways to lose. And in closing for my segment on the Lions, I was scrolling through social media after a Lions loss, one of my favorite things to do on a Sunday, and somebody...
That's every week.
Yeah, exactly. It's always something to look forward to. And somebody said there's 3 things you can always count on. There's 3 things that you can be sure of in life: death, taxes, and Lions snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. And I don't think you can really put it much better than that. And so, yeah. But unfortunate for the Lions, and especially against a division rival. It's got to be a pretty nasty pill to swallow. But, this is the growing pains, like we said before. This is a team that got, in some ways, they're finding new ways to lose every week. But, they gotta go through it, and they gotta keep pushing, and hopefully they can get a win one of these weeks. And but I do like what I see from the coaching staff and things like that. I think this is a team that is, as weird as it sounds, miles ahead of where they left off last season, even though they haven't won.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, as far as my opinion on the game, tough loss for the Lions. I had to bring it back,
What'd you think of their uniforms?
I didn't think their uniforms looked bad, but,
just everything else.
They just don't look as good as the black and orange that the Bengals wear, but,
could have gone with a silver pant instead of a blue pant.
But, it's unfortunate.
They both look about the same trotting off the field after a loss. A loss to a field goal, nonetheless.
Yeah, it don't matter. It don't matter how your uniforms look if you can't win the game. But nonetheless, just another heartbreaker for the Lions. Kind of like what the Bengals was today. Heartbreaking. But I don't know. I think they'll manage to get a win one of these weeks. I just think that they've been in most of the games that they played. They just haven't been able to finish them. So, that's just how it is sometimes, especially when you're known for that, like the Lions are. It was overall a good. They played with a lot of heart and played hard today. So, and we're in the game most of it. Well, all of it, honestly, but yeah. That's all you gotta do. That's all I gotta say.
So nice.
Just a loss.
Okay, you can answer your phone, Shefty.
Chapter.
Yeah, another hot tip coming in. I think the Lions are done with purple field goal kickers for the last couple weeks. So hopefully, we won't see any more purple teams in the next few weeks. But as I was watching my team be the clowns of the world, I was like, let's look at everybody else's teams. And as Bryson said, we're all in the shit. So I was like, let me go back to my game. And then I was getting to the end of my game, and I was like, let's check in. And I'm like, holy shit, Lions are ahead. They're going to win a game. And then I went back to my game. And then I came back to the phone and went, huh? Oh, boy. I got to see how this happened. And I did, of course, eventually. So, that was, again, just another, I don't know how, again, coming up with new ways. It never ends. There's got to be something that's in there.
Yep.
And then, so I don't know what to do. Again, I huge, round of applause for Coach Campbell to stick with these people and what they do. Because to me, it'd be like, I don't know how much more I can handle this. I'd be jumping in front of a Ford truck, at this point, because this is ridiculous. But, he's going to win the Dick Vermeil Award after today's press conference.
Yeah.
Which will be hopefully something. And I just can't wait for the Annie Agar press conference this week.
Yep. Well, it sums it up.
It's a conference call, right? That's what she does, right? The conference call.
Yeah. No, it's been just another frustrating week of football, really. Like you say, we're finding new ways to lose it. Ultimately, the defense probably played the best game they played yet today. Outside of the last two plays there where they gave up 40 yards and two plays.
It just happened where they forgot to play it.
Yeah.
Right. At the end of the game, they somehow forgot what they were doing or whatever. But this is probably the best defensive game they played this year. And, the one they played against the Ravens, they played well as well.
Yeah.
So, and the whole point is like we're doing this with second-string players. Yeah. These guys are not starters. So we're hanging in, playing tough against these teams, and we're losing. But the thing that's good about this, for those that are going to be here next year, if they're not leaving, because most of these guys are one-year contract players, so who knows what's going to happen when they leave or if they stay. But a lot of these young rookie guys are getting some playing time. And by the time next year rolls around, when we get another crop of rookies where we're going to depend on, these guys will at least be, ready to play. These guys will already be ready to play. So
new faces, same result.
Hopefully at some point they'll get a win. But I'm questioning whether we're going to see that. I could see us going 0-17. The easiest games we got left on the schedule are pretty much divisional opponents. And that's not good because they were dealt a bad hand schedule wise. Like I don't understand how we get like the 5th toughest schedule or whatever, we're in the top 5 toughest schedules in the league.
And Tampa gets the 3rd easiest. Huh. Yeah, how's that happen?
And how does that happen? It just doesn't make sense. But with that being said, when you're as bad as we are, there is not an easy game on the schedule. Every game is tough. So, but with that being said, I really do feel like we got some major problems. Like, to me, I don't know if Goff is the answer. He's played okay, but he doesn't seem to be able to make the throws when we need him. Of course, who's he throwing to, right?
Yeah,
some guy playing.
Yeah, he's gonna be the Mumford. He's gonna be we're gonna get rid of him because he's too much of a salary contract. What he's gonna be, you know what I mean?
And I don't know. I don't want to place all the blame on him, but because part of it is the offensive line is hurt and they're not playing very well. So consequently, he's rushing the ball, making bad throws, taking sacks and stuff when he doesn't really need to be taking them. All that leads to one thing: losing. So and that's what we're good at right now. We got that part figured out. But my personal feeling is that if we can remain. If the Lions can keep the momentum up, or not the momentum, but if they can keep the enthusiasm up for the season, I think it's going to really benefit us down the road. What I'd hate to see happen is we keep losing games, and then by the end of the season, nobody wants to be there. Because now you're just starting over again and again and again.
Yeah.
So
you're like, oh, loser culture. We don't need this.
Yeah. And that's what they're trying to change.
Mm-hmm.
And up to this point, at least judging by what I can tell from the coaching staff and listening to what they've said, is that they couldn't be more proud of the guys on the team and the way they're approaching it. Every week they're coming in motivated and ready to work. And, it's showing up on the field. There really is. Because like I said, we're looking at probably maybe the team with the least amount of talent in the league right now. And, we're putting up some good efforts and could have won probably 3 of these games anyway.
No, every game they played, it's been unbelievable that they've actually been in the games.
Yeah.
One way or another, even if it was, garbage time XYZ. But, if you look at it, at one point of every game, they've been in it.
Yeah.
Chance to win it.
Yeah. Yeah. The only game that they kind of really blew out was the Packers, but they were leading at half.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. If you look at it some certain time, they were actually dominating the game.
Right. The second half, they kind of lost their way, but up
and
until
Chicago,
then,
if they could actually do something in the red zone, they were ahead of that game too.
Yeah. Yeah, and they beat Baltimore for all basic purposes.
Exactly.
So it's just one of those things where, like the coach is saying, it's growing pains. These guys are learning. It's just tough to watch because, these guys that are busting their ass and putting all this shit together.
Yeah.
It just, you just gotta love tuned in sports in general. We just all sit here and we say, boy, how can we find a new way to break down the same thing this week?
Yeah.
It's like
Spin it positive.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're so great. Here's the L in the column though.
Yeah,
Thanks.
exactly.
Can I have another? Yeah, next week.
Can we find a way to find a positive out of this week's loss? Yeah. Well, let's see. This part of the team played well. Unfortunately, we lost anyway. Oh man, it's just sitting here thinking about it. It's like, wow, every single show,
Yep.
But
anyway,
anyway,
that's it.
I understand. I completely understand what you mean. Like Don said, for all intents and purposes, I think the Lions deserve a golden ticket award or whatever the hell you want to call it for, the amount of effort that they put in against far more talented teams. The fact that they've not gotten blown out really at all this year is really a testament to the intestinal fortitude of the team and the players and the preparedness of the coaching staff to get these guys in the right mindset for these games. So, props to that, and hopefully one of these weeks it'll show up in the win column. But until then, well, just buckle up. Let's see what they can do next week.
Here's a free cup of coffee in the Ford cafeteria, and then here's a pat on the back for it. That a boy.
Right.
Yeah. So.
What does he mean?
But anyway, so I guess while we're talking about the same show as last week, we didn't get to have a show last week, so unfortunately we didn't get to break down last week's losses for all of us. But don't worry, because there was plenty of losses to be had this week to make up for it. And while we're talking about pretty much the same show, let's hop into the Broncos game to finish off this grand old time here. Like I said, 6 points into the third quarter going against the Steelers. And we're not even talking about really the regular old Steelers here because, Ben Roethlisberger, he's been struggling this season. Plus, he was getting banged around all over the damn place. And at one point, I thought for sure he wasn't even going to be in the game, but he kept ticking out there, I guess. For better or for worse, he was still out there. And unfortunately for the Broncos, they just, by the time that they got things figured out, it was too late. And then, they found a way to come back into the game. But once again, the Steelers, the Packers, you name it, these teams that have been around for a while, constantly in the picture in the playoffs and all this stuff, It doesn't seem to matter what quarterback they have, what struggles they're having in this aspect, or whether their offense is doing this or that or the other thing. The time comes for them to blow the game, and they just pull out a win. It doesn't seem to matter who it is against or anything. It's just like, oh, the Steelers, look at them, 1-3. They're the armpit of the league this year. Here we are, still managed to pull out a win. And of course, had to get the Denver fans' hopes up for a few minutes there, thinking, "Oh wow, we're in the red zone with a chance to score." And of course, they weren't able to do it. So it's unfortunate for the Broncos for sure. Honestly, it kind of just it really just feels like what they've been watching for the last handful of years.
Deja vu,
yeah. And I can only imagine. I know with the Eagles, I feel like I've been watching the same show for well over a season now, and I can only imagine what that must be like for 5 seasons. But and for 55.
I was going to say, why don't you add about 50 more years onto that, and then we can talk.
I was going to say that on that Lions one, there was somebody that tweeted out and said, Jesus, it's going to come down to the Minnesota kicker versus the Lions past history. Which one's going to come out ahead?
Exactly.
It's just like, Jesus.
Exactly.
Voodoo for both.
Yeah, but I'm not quite ready to abandon the. I said a couple weeks ago I was hopping on the Denver bandwagon. I'm not quite ready to abandon it just yet. The injuries might end up pulling me off the bandwagon. By my hair or something. But I still think that they can right the ship and continue having a good season. But they just got to get something figured out offensively. I mean, I understand that, each of the teams presents a different challenge. And the Steelers are one of those teams that have always kind of built their foundation on defense. So it wasn't going to be easy. And I know last week against the Ravens, they had quarterback health issues and yada yada, and here nor there. The fact of the matter is that you can make an excuse for whatever you want to, but you've been watching the same thing for years now, and at some point it starts up top with the head coach, which I'll go ahead and I'm sure he's dying to get to that part, but I said last season that I thought the head coach needed to go, and I think he's a problem on this team, and they decided to keep him. And so we're still seeing the pretty much same show. And unless they can miraculously find a way to start doing something different, I don't know how they're going to expect to compete against the better teams in this league. Because just like I said with the Eagles, the fact that they were able to make a game out of this at the end, yay them, but the Steelers are not one of the better teams in this league. If they were playing the Bucs or somebody like that, they would have been creamed long before they had a chance to come back. Against the better teams, you're not going to be able to do that, and you're going to lose when you try. So, that, just like I said with the Eagles, kind of applies for the Broncos, and that's not the only category I can say that in. So, I guess that tells you where they're at. So, anyways, that's it for me.
Oh, okay. I guess I'm giving my segment.
Tough
loss for the Broncos. I don't know. I always feel the need to start off with that because we definitely have an awful lot of losses every season. But yeah, Broncos offensively just weren't getting it done for most of the day. And like Bryson said, when they were beginning to right the ship, it was already too late. And just, yeah, it just happens to go like that sometimes. More often for some teams, yeah.
It's like a bus stop.
Well, yeah, honestly.
I'll see you back at 1:00 on Sunday. Yeah, all right.
Send it around again.
What a surprise. What a surprise. But, it was pretty cool to see the guy that QB'd make a big catch. It was pretty cool to see that. And you know what? I was quite surprised that. Shoot, never mind. I just forgot what I was gonna say. So, I'll let
So
Don
did
take
Fangio.
it.
Losing will do that to you.
Yeah, losing will.
So did Fangio. He forgot about that too.
Yeah.
He gets a lot of things at his age.
Yeah.
Yeah, bad game for the Broncos, and I'll leave it at that. I'll give the rest of my time to Don.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this will be good. Yeah, typical stuff. How we find out how other teams do things the same way. Ours is how to shoot yourself in the foot. We do it again every week. It seems like. Unbelievable. Teddy at the end of the game came out and said, "Yeah, it really started slow. No shit. You think when you go 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out." And then you guys systematically have nobody, especially, again, I've always said about Noah Fant, can't block, and he just totally does not know how to block T.J. Watt. And, of course, T.J. Watt's back for Pittsburgh. Good timing for that. And so that always helps. But, again, the heart of the matter is, just not executing as usual, which comes down to old Vic. At the helm. We had 3 interceptions right in our hands, dropped them all, never picked them off. Ben is definitely showing his age. There's no way that he should have been sitting back there all day, having their time. I don't know. I could understand the Lamar Jackson thing, like, ooh, we got to keep our lanes to make sure he's going to stay in his lane. Well, what's the excuse this week?
Yeah.
You got a statue in the backfield, and you can't tell me you can't hit him.
Yeah.
Although, here we go again. Oh, well, they got a running game. They got over 100 yards. Well, it doesn't matter. The guy's back there with a bruised chicken wing, and he's still beating you. It's just embarrassing. And then, once we do get things going, Javonte Williams rips off in the first quarter, a 50-yard run, gets tackled, of course, at the 1-yard line. He gets up, spikes the ball, penalty, moves us back. We get sacked. There's a field goal. All right. Kyle Fuller. Again, this is typical Pittsburgh, as we say around. He turns around and runs with the guy. He gets flagged for 15 yards. Puts it on the goal line. It's like, you've seen everything in any other game would have been worse than what he did. He just ran with the guy and just put his hand on his shoulder. That's all he did. It wasn't like he pulled it or ripped it or armbarred him. He just went like this. There's 15. Put it on the goal line. And then when we get them to stop for a field goal, we're doing leverage. We're jumping on top of fucking people to leverage ourselves onto it, and that gives them a first down, and they score a touchdown on that.
Yeah.
So again, shoot yourself in the foot. Those plays would probably have been about a 12-point swing. Well, what did we lose by? 8. And it's just like clockwork, like we always said. I was texting Bryson during the game, and I was like, yeah, here we are at 6 points, and then he's like, yeah, and it was like, oh, it's probably done. I said, no, we'll get back into it just to get my hopes up and dash it by about 1 o'clock. I was off by 5 minutes. It was 1:05 when that happened. So again, it's just like, this is ridiculous. It's the same shit over and over and over. It's just miraculous, unbelievable. This hardens back, probably gives me flashbacks to Wade Phillips when he was the head coach. Hey, great defensive coordinator, and he's Humpty Dumpty in the fucking HC position. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And this is exactly what I see again. Defense played not great, but they had a bunch of opportunities to capitalize, and they didn't do it.
Yeah.
And so when you do that, and you give great defensive calling to putting Von Miller on Claypool, who the hell does that?
Yeah.
There's no way he's going to, Bond's great and all, but there's no way he's going to keep up with Claypool.
Yeah.
And, of course, that was a 60-yard run. What the hell's that scheme?
Yeah.
PS2 out there running around with his head cut off. Again, typical, our luck with Bama players. It's like, oh, you guys didn't do that when you were Saban. No, you do it when you're here, though. It's like, oh, my God. And, of course, then Baltimore gets Humphrey, and he's balling out just like he did in freaking Alabama.
Yeah.
It's like, what do we get? There's a reason why we drafted you this high. Do it.
Yeah.
It's not like you're coming from a horrible program or anything.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but again, growing pains, just like everybody else. Some of them can't be chases. Judy's a chase lounger because he's spending more time with his feet up than he is actually on the field. But hopefully we'll get him back in about 3 weeks. But
Yeah.
See what happens with that. But again, it's just frustrating, and it just leads to everything else. It's just hilarious. I think there was a video I sent of the typical Broncos game, and has the guy on all the amusement rides, and in a league that's filling up with offensive firepower and everything's geared towards the NFL, and we're just sitting here going wee, and doing nothing. You know what I mean? It's just horrible. Just like everything else, I hate it, but you know what? You got to go through some shitty years, and this is what we're doing. And unfortunately, that's part of the game that you love it. Because again, I can't complain. I've had some really good years, unbelievable years. Most years better than not, but at this point of eating crow all the time is not fun. And hopefully there will be a change. Just as we said earlier, that how Aaron Rodgers pulls shit out. This would have been a typical game where Aaron Rodgers would pull shit out for you and would win. And that's what you need. And then you need somebody else that's not an idiot at the steering wheel, such as Fangio. Again, hopefully, I would love to have him just take a step demotion down to defensive coordinator and let him handle that, do his thing, perfect. But we need somebody else at the helm that can actually steer this thing. And then, like you've also said, ownership, we still have to get a freaking owner. So I don't know if it's Bezos or Mark Cuban or whoever they're talking about, Jay-Z or whatever the hell it is. Just somebody get in the hell fucking buy this thing so we can start moving forward again. Because I'm tired of wallowing in the freaking shallows. Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is like I think it was 45 Johnson.
40, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he dropped like 2 picks that were right in his hands. I was like, oh my god, that those could have been swinging plays. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just ridiculous how stuff like that happens. But I would hope that maybe they'll work with him. Hopefully they'll work with him on his catching. So.
Yep. What do you do?
Yeah.
I mean,
but I mean the truth. I mean, and it's just like I said before. I mean, it's almost to the point of like laughing, where it's just like, I mean, we're literally sitting here talking about the same crap all the time. And I mean, listen, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I mean, it's almost to the point where it's a running joke where we sit here and we talk about, are you watching the tape and stuff like that. I mean, I say that now and we all laugh, but I mean, that's a legitimate question. How do you go out here and I know that the Eagles won this week, but let's not kid ourselves and act like they had a different performance than they have thus far. How do you come out here and have the same performance every single week and nothing seems to change? We pretty much can just take what we talk about on this show, change the opponent, and just rerun it every week, and it's just okay. Like, oh yeah, that's just what it's supposed to be. No, that's not what it's supposed to be. What are you guys getting paid for? To change that. Mm-hmm. To not, I mean, like, let's put it this way, the Broncos, for instance. Well, let's just say this. This week, if we lose, it's not going to be because our offense struggled. Make that this week's goal. You know what I mean? Like, say, hey, it's not going to be because we got off to a slow start again. We might lose the game, but that won't be the reason. We're hammering that home in practice 24/7 all week long, focusing on nothing else but that. And if we lose again, well, it'll be because of some other reason. But it's not going to be because we could not figure things out and started 3 and out 3 times in a row. That will not be the reason why. But that doesn't seem to be their approach. That doesn't seem to be the approach with the Eagles. Just, let's go down the field and, start with a freaking field goal and not be able to score another point for 15 minutes. That doesn't seem to be the point with the Lions, where it's the same thing. Let's start with, literally, the 3 of our teams had 6 points going into the third quarter. And that's not the first time this has happened this season. So, like I said, if I'm a coaching staff, I'm sitting here saying, I don't care if we lose at this point. We're not going to lose because of the same thing every week. But literally, we sit here, and most weeks we lost because of the same couple of things. So what are they getting paid for if they're not going to change this stuff? I understand that there's limitations with talent and stuff, but I'm not convinced that all of these teams are just that bad. I don't think that's the case. I think I know the Broncos have some injuries and whatever, but I don't think that they're that bad where their offense should only be able to put up 6 points and a half. I think they're better than that. I think the Lions, if anybody, maybe that's where they're at.
There's always an exception.
Yeah. I was gonna say, if anybody, maybe that's where they're at.
Yeah.
But
it's the same thing last week, right? Where I said, like, oh, hey, they got to stop abandoning the run, even though you're down by so many points. Well, I guess that's what they did this week. Abandoning the run. They only had 15. Williams ripped off a 50-yarder. Do it again.
yeah.
You can't tell me you can't be able to do it. You just did it.
Yeah.
But what did they do? Nope, scrap that.
Yeah.
Let's go. Teddy's going to bring us back.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's the same thing with the Eagles. Every week, the passes almost double, if not triple, the rushing attempts. And it's not because we're just getting down by a lot. That's not why. Because today we were in it the whole time, and we barely like I said, only 5 rushes in the whole first half. And even those were probably RPOs that he just decided to run instead. Yep. So it's like, I mean, what... I mean, like I said, it's almost a running joke at this point where we talk about this stuff, but I mean, we want to cry so bad that all we can do is laugh. Really. I mean,
I want to cry.
It's so sad that we can literally sit here and week in and week out be talking about the exact same problems, and either they don't know that these are the problems or they're not doing anything to fix it. And
what pisses you off is that the casual fans notice it.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that you're actually in the organization. You have all the freaking film in the world to look at, and you can't see this?
Exactly.
I mean, people are sitting on their at the couch and going, we're calling it. I'm texting him, and we're going to lose at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, exactly.
Why can't you fucking see this?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Exactly. That literally word for word. That's exactly what I'm saying. And here's the thing too, is that I was watching Red Zone today, and I could tell you without even watching the game what happened, because it's the same thing every week. So I can watch a few minutes of Red Zone and figure out usually why my team lost just by watching a few minutes of Red Zone. They got, like he said, access to all the tape. They can watch it over. They can fast forward it, slow it down, put it in reverse. Add music to it, put it on TikTok, create a dance to it with Juju Smith-Schuster, whatever the hell you want to do, and we're still talking about the same thing. So it's infuriating for that to be the case. Like I said, I mean, I'll say this again, and I'll say it until the cows come home. If I'm a coach, I'm saying, I don't care if we lose again. We're not losing because of the exact same reason we lost last week. I don't care if we lose because the defense didn't show up. It's not going to be because the offense couldn't put up more than 10 points.
Here's an idea. Why don't we have the social media person for these teams actually run the messages to the coaches and say, hey, this is what they're saying on Twitter. You should see all the cuss words that are happening on this one. You dumb. Why don't you run the damn ball? Why don't you read that? And then go, maybe we should implement that into next week's game plan.
Yeah. And not just do the Doug Peterson of acknowledging it, but then still not doing anything to change it. Just like, well, we're going to ignore it anyway.
Yeah, well, again, we'll walk up to the podium next week. Well, it's a slow start for us this week. Well, why don't you try a faster start then somehow?
Exactly. Yeah, not enough deep balls this week. Oh, okay, well, let's solve that by throwing more screen passes. Hello. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, it's just... It's so sad that we're literally doing this every week, but I mean, the longer that we've had this channel running and the more I go back and watch our old videos, I just sit there and I can almost just have a tear come into my eye. I'm like, holy crap, we're talking about this now. Yep. Same thing we talked about week 5 of last season. So, I mean, it's just like, what the hell is going on? And a lot of us have different coaches and stuff, but it's the same freaking program. So, anyways, that's enough of this crap show. If you guys like the content, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, all that fun stuff. If you watch this show, you probably don't need to watch the first 4 weeks because it's the same show. You pretty much know what happened. And you got a special this week with the Lions yet again, finding a way to pull defeat out of the jaws of victory. So with that being said, guys, if you want to continue to see more of the same show, then make sure you subscribe and, check out. We've got quite a few dandies coming next week. I think the Bengals and the Lions are actually playing each other. So that'll be the first time.
TV.
Yeah, that'll be must-see TV for sure. And
Raider week.
yeah, Raider week for you guys, and I get to start my week off on Thursday against Tampa Bay. So woohoo, TV 12 time.
Yeah, you'll be taking it out by the fountain.
Yeah, exactly, and we'll be getting
We'll be getting bent over.
We'll be getting bent over by 5:30.
5:15.
The only hope the only thing we might win on Thursday is the coin toss. Other than that, we're gonna probably get plowed. If we can win the coin toss, that'll be just a positive to take away from the game. But apart from that, we're probably not gonna win anything else. So, anyways, thank you guys for watching the video. I'm Bryson.
I'm Bennett.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Don.
See you guys in the next video.